Jet Set Nightclub Roof Collapse Incident. On April 8, 2025, hundreds of fans gathered at the Jet Set Nightclub in Santo Domingo. They came to see Ruby Perez, one of the most popular merengue singers in the Dominican Republic. The multi-level venue was packed to capacity, with excited concertgoers filling every available space on the dance floor and balconies. What none of them knew was that the building had undergone hasty renovations. Plasterboard had been installed just hours before the event. Waterproofing work had been completed only a month prior. Most critically, the roof lacked proper support, with narrow columns only on the sides and none in the center. At 11:45 p.m., as the music reached a crescendo and hundreds of people danced, a low creaking sound began above them. Few noticed it at first over the pounding music. Then, without warning, the entire ceiling structure gave way. Thousands of pounds of concrete, metal, and building materials crashed down onto the crowd below. The collapse was not instantaneous, but happened in horrifying slow motion. Those directly underneath had no chance to escape. Bodies were instantly crushed under the massive weight. Others found themselves trapped in pocket spaces, alive but pinned by debris. The final death toll reached 220 people, with more than 180 others suffering catastrophic injuries. Many victims died not from the initial impact, but from slow suffocation, as their chest cavities were compressed under the weight of the debris. Rescue workers described finding victims still clutching drinks or holding up their phones to record the concert. Later investigations revealed the nightclub owners had received multiple warnings about the roof's structural integrity, but had chosen to ignore them to avoid costly repairs. 4-minute concert disaster incident. On October 17, 2014, thousands of K-pop fans gathered in Seongnam, just outside of Seoul, for an outdoor concert by the popular girl group 4-Minute. The free event was held near a busy shopping district, drawing massive crowds of young people eager to see their idols perform. As the venue filled beyond capacity, some fans looked for better vantage points. A group of approximately 20 to 30 spectators noticed a raised ventilation grate that offered an unobstructed view of the stage. The metal grate was part of a ventilation shaft that dropped more than 10 meters straight down. It was never designed to support human weight, especially not dozens of people at once. As 4-Minute took the stage and began their performance, more fans crowded onto the grate. The thin metal cover began to bow under their combined weight. Some witnesses later reported hearing a metallic groaning sound, but in the excitement of the concert, no one paid attention. At 5:53 p.m., with no warning, the grate suddenly gave way. In an instant, 27 people plummeted into the darkness below. Their screams were drowned out by the music as they fell more than 10 meters, the equivalent of a 3-story building. Those who fell first hit solid concrete at the bottom of the shaft. Those who fell seconds later landed on top of them. The impact was devastating. 16 people died from catastrophic injuries, their bodies broken by the fall. Many suffered compound fractures where bones pierced through skin. Others experienced severe internal bleeding and crushed organs. On stage, the performance continued for several minutes before anyone realized what had happened. By then, the ventilation shaft had become a mass grave of broken bodies. The Station nightclub fire incident. On February 20th, 2003, the Station nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island was packed with nearly 500 rock fans. They had come to see the band Great White perform. The small venue was dimly lit with a low ceiling and limited exits. Its walls were lined with polyurethane foam, a cheap soundproofing material that had never been treated with fire-retardant chemicals. The foam was highly flammable, but neither the band nor the crowd knew the danger surrounding them. At 11:07 p.m., as Great White took the stage, their tour manager set off a series of pyrotechnic gerbs, shooting sparks into the air as part of the show's opening. The sparks, which reached temperatures of over 1,200 degrees, immediately ignited the foam on both sides of the stage. At first, some audience members thought the flames were just part of the show. Within 30 seconds, the fire spread across the entire wall behind the stage. Lead singer Jack Russell noticed the growing flames and stopped the performance. By then, it was already too late. The fire moved with terrifying speed, racing across the ceiling at over 15 feet per second. Dense, toxic black smoke filled the room within 1 minute. The temperature rose to over 1,000 degrees. Panic erupted as hundreds of people rushed toward the main entrance. Bodies piled up at the door, creating a human blockade that made escape impossible for those behind. Many victims died while still on their feet, pressed together so tightly they couldn't fall. Others collapsed from smoke inhalation, their lungs seared by the toxic fume. 100 people perished, including Great White guitarist Ty Longley. Medical examiners later found that most victims died not from burns, but from cyanide poisoning caused by inhaling the burning foam. Altamont free concert stabbing incident. On December 6, 1969, the Altamont Speedway in California hosted a free concert headlined by the Rolling Stones. The event was meant to be the West Coast's answer to Woodstock, a celebration of peace and music for 300,000 fans. But one decision would turn the day into a nightmare. The concert organizers hired members of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club as security, paying them $500 worth of beer. These weren't trained professionals, but notorious outlaws with a history of violence. Throughout the day, tensions escalated as the Angels brutally beat fans who got too close to the stage. By nightfall, the atmosphere had turned dangerous. As the Rolling Stones performed Under My Thumb, 18-year-old Meredith Hunter Jr. attempted to reach the stage. He was an African-American man attending with his white girlfriend. When the Hells Angels blocked his path, a scuffle broke out. Hunter, feeling threatened, pulled a revolver from his jacket. Angel member Alan Pissarro immediately noticed the weapon. Pissarro rushed forward with a hunting knife, stabbing Hunter repeatedly in the back and neck. As Hunter tried to escape, other Angels surrounded him, kicking and beating him as he fell to the ground. The attack happened just yards from Mick Jagger, who continued singing, unaware of the murder taking place. The entire incident was captured by documentary filmmakers. Footage shows Hunter's body being dragged away as blood pooled beneath him. He was stabbed at least 5 times, with one wound piercing his aorta. By the time medical help arrived, Hunter was already dead from massive internal bleeding. His murder happened in full view of thousands, yet most attendees had no idea someone had just been killed. The show continued as Hunter's life ended. A brutal death set to a soundtrack of rock and roll. Route 91 Harvest Festival mass shooting incident. On October 1st, 2017, the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas was in its final night. Country music star Jason Aldean was on stage performing for a crowd of 22,000 fans. The outdoor venue sat directly across from the Mandalay Bay Resort, its massive windows overlooking the concert grounds. In one of those windows, on the 32nd floor, 64-year-old Stephen Paddock had spent days preparing. He had brought an arsenal of weapons to his hotel suite, including 23 firearms modified with bump stocks to simulate automatic fire. At 10:05 p.m., as music filled the air, Paddock broke 2 windows in his suite and opened fire on the crowd below. First shots were mistaken for fireworks. Then reality set in. Bullets rained down at a rate of 9 per second. The crowd had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide in the open festival grounds. Concert goers dropped to the ground, many already hit. Susan Smith, a 53-year-old office manager, was struck in the neck while dancing with her husband. Bullets tore through vital arteries, killing her almost instantly. Others weren't as fortunate. 27-year-old Sonny Melton died shielding his wife from bullets. Harry Parsons was hit in the head while trying to escape, dying on the asphalt between rows of cars. The shooting continued for more than 10 minutes. Some victims died instantly. Others bled out slowly, help unable to reach them as bullets continued to fall. When it was over, 58 people had been killed. More than 800 others were injured by bullets or in the panic to escape. Medical examiners later found that many victims had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Each bullet created catastrophic internal damage, shredding organs and severing blood vessels, turning a night of music into the deadliest mass shooting in modern American history. Astroworld Festival crowd surge incident. On November 5th, 2021, 50,000 fans gathered at NRG Park in Houston, Texas, for rapper Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival. The event had sold out within minutes of tickets going on sale. By nightfall, the crowd was densely packed, waiting for the headliner to take the stage. Many had been standing for hours in the Texas heat. Security measures were already failing. Earlier that day, hundreds of people had broken through entrance gates, bypassing security checkpoints. By 8:30 p.m., medical staff had treated dozens for heat exhaustion and dehydration. These were just warning signs of what was to come. At 9:06 p.m., when Travis Scott began his performance, the crowd surged forward. Those in front were instantly compressed against metal barricades. Behind them, thousands more pushed forward, creating a human wave that no one could resist. People began to fall. Once someone went down, others toppled on top of them. The pressure built to catastrophic levels. In the center of the crowd, people were packed so tightly that their lungs couldn't expand. Medical experts call this compressive asphyxia, death by crushing. Victims remain conscious as their oxygen levels drop. They feel every second of their suffocation. 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez was one of the first to collapse. The high school junior was crushed under the weight of the crowd, her chest cavity compressed until breathing became impossible. 9-year-old Ezra Blount was on his father's shoulders when the surge hit. Both were knocked down and trampled. Ezra suffered catastrophic organ damage and died 9 days later in the hospital. In total, 10 people died from compression injuries. Their last moments were spent in panic and terror, gasping for breath that wouldn't come, surrounded by thousands yet utterly alone in their suffering. The music never stopped.